mandatory for him to qualify. That's an aspect of his clause that he's not being able to meet, because one of the things was for him to qualify for the 2025 AFCON and qualify for the 2026 FIFA World Cup. So failure to qualify for the 2025 AFCON, that is one area that's already done. And failure to qualify for 2026 World Cup would be the final nail on his coffin.
All right, Coach Otto Addo, ni future et say the German coach ayete say all baron ebusua eno so update et say eno na ya trans ne de yetim eramu ne de enkowo no etim e de bro ani de ne oboko aso oba so a subscribe, like and share video no if I know obi so enter Sports Link Ghana enka na ebusua report bebre na ekoso Otto Addo, he is still at the verge see betimi asake no e de free blasters akache ne yetimi a high top notch coach. Na report na eba no eno ne yebetimi eram yakokotie enkomo akra etimi e de free game plan show itimi ekos or Joy Sports. Na report ametete no eche say Otto Addo GF no now omagia tum say Otto Addo lose control our dressing room ho it say omunya top notch coach bia obetimi a handle boys ni ye ete amomo. Also yesi GF for no per contract na omuni Otto Addo sign ye no na ewomu say Otto Addo e de Ghana e qualify for AFCON and as say no we are at the verge of losing that spot. And say I stars at the hoa air train Otto Addo see be sakeno. Also, Otto Addo per contract na or sign ye no. E wo say ese otimi de Ghana e rom or World Cup. World Cup and they say no yetimi abo 1 or 2 games bia. Ya share yenya wins na honom. But still, I say say timi bobi to aso near the qualify e rom or World Cup. Ti eno no I stars esa ada ho. Say AFCON ne de e ho na attention ni nyina ye dey. E wa GF allegedly reporter circulating say omoni tete ho a omo hwese Otto Addo 1 wa losing control e dressing room 2 AFCON no ye free mu anesa and they say no ni nyina omo de stars e toto ho kakra e honom. Now GF no is still on course say omo hwe so betimi anya top notch coach e de ama oman konkono Ghana enti GF no omo be di banke say on say omo be kan say yes no kro bia nim Germany na Ket ekoye na ye Puma and na enkre because ye hu say new jerseys bi e ba bonte amoche say Puma for no etima ba obe unveil new jersey. But let me tell you, according to report allegedly report Amegara H say Otto Addo sack no is still hanging. It's still hanging. And say Ghana miss out from this AFCON now, Otto Addo will be sacked or can be sacked. Ninyina ene se we lose control or dressing room and when timi so amfa Ghana and qualify for AFCON. Etiese no ade ba ko a yesi efe ni etwen e World Cup. Say World Cup no so eje kekrepe Otto Addo will be out. Abusua ye ba be rebu ye wakotie game plan according to reporter Muftau Nabila etimi edepa ye na ya kire ya adwen ede afa yenko na ye enjoy Muftau Nabila wa abra wodi Otto Addo ni future update no etimi edepa yenwura mu ni enkotimra.
So heated disagreements, and Otto had to do the most responsible thing, in my opinion, which is visiting the players and having conversations with them. That was really needed. In fact, I was actually even made to understand that, we are always told that, oh, you lose the dressing room. That Otto has lost control of the dressing room, actually. And that was a point where the Ghana Football Association decided to consider the possibility of getting some technical support for Otto Addo. And this is a conversation I don't think the FA has stopped. What I do know and can state emphatically is the fact that they need technical support for Otto. And they don't just need any technical support. They need someone of a certain quality who can step in and lead the team, just maybe in the absence of Otto Addo. As to who that person is going to be, my sources have not been able to tell me that. But I'm very much aware that the drama that surrounded Ghana's games against Sudan is the reason why the FA were considering this. And in fact, there's so much pressure. The pressure now is being directed to the FA. The pressure is being directed to the FA because failure of the Black Stars to qualify for an AFCON, I'm not sure many Ghanaians would forgive the FA. So they're also trying to see how they can salvage the situation of qualifying to the World Cup 2026. That's why I was made to understand that they're probably looking for technical support for Otto Addo. I've heard people talk about the fact that
how soon will this happen, you think?
I'm sure okay, so it should happen before the 2026 World Cup qualifiers in March next year. If Otto is able to steady the ship, because I know the FA likes him. He's someone who is appreciated by the people within the Football Association. But when it comes to throwing anyone under a bus and cover yourself, that one they will do it. They'll throw Otto under the bus and get someone who can steady the ship for them to be able to win matches and get the support of Ghanaians.
But so when you say when it comes to, at what point does his job begin to be considered?
I'm sure if the next round of the qualifiers 2026 World Cup doesn't go well, I'm not sure we might have Otto again, based on the conversations I've been privy to.
So what matters in these 2 games?
You see, initially when they were hiring him, one of the things they spoke about, qualifying for the AFCON, they thought was a given, and it was considered mandatory for him to qualify. That's an aspect of his clause that he's not being able to meet, because one of the things was for him to qualify for the 2025 AFCON and qualify for the 2026 FIFA World Cup. So failure to qualify for the 2025 AFCON, that is one area that's already done. And failure to qualify for 2026 World Cup would be the final nail on his coffin.
So you're saying that already Otto Addo has failed 50% of his target.
Oh, that one he's failed.
50% of his target failed.
He's failed
Spectacularly.
I cannot say it is spectacularly, because
well, it's 1 goal scored in 4 matches, no win. I mean, how else do you want me to put that?
The first coach in the history of the country to play 4 matches without a single win in AFCON qualifying campaign. That's quite a record.
Oh, the first Black Stars coach.
So we want him to say it spectacularly.
But I don't know. It is going to be the most difficult situation that the FA would find themselves in.
You know, it's possible for us to finish this qualifying series without winning a game.
It's possible.
And that would be the first time ever in history.
It's very possible
that Ghana would go through a qualifying series without winning a single match. I mean, do you know how bad that is?
It is bad. Extremely bad. But it's not the first time we'll be failing to qualify for an AFCON. 2004, we were not there. We watched it on television.
2004, we were broke.
Right now we have money.
Oh.
But even with that, we won again.
No, I'm saying right now we have money. Do you have money?
When was the last time the Black Stars complained about money?
It's not about the Black Stars complaining about money.
No, I'm talking about right now. The football structure.
Right, Mufta, finish up for
okay,
me.
so let me just let me just wrap up. So I think that Otto has learned from the drama and double header against Sudan, and this is the time for him to right those wrongs. As to whether he will be able to get the boys to be motivated to play is another thing, because you talked about coaching is a major factor. You even compared Ghana's squad of now to the squad that played the 2006 World Cup, and that is the team we all adore so much. But if you take a look at the comparison that you did, it clearly suggests that our players are not as bad as the perception being created or impression being created out there about the current crop of players. People often claim that they are not committed, and I've always had my reservations about that. From a decision to even fly down alone, risking myself to fly, anything can happen with me in the air, to come and play, that alone is a commitment. Getting on the pitch to play is another commitment. But many times people will say that the players are not committed. I've always disagreed with that position, and I think that
I think there's 2 ways of looking at it. They want to be, but maybe subconsciously they don't want to be. But they don't know that they don't want to be. They don't want to take too many risks. They don't know that that's what their mind's telling them. That's what will motivate. For example, that's the difference between putting body on the line and then removing your foot from a crucial tackle.
That is also a possibility, and that could also go to the psychological aspect of the game, where we've always spoken about the need to have a psychologist within this team. I was made to understand that, Mr. Okra H.E, if you are listening to us this afternoon.
Oh, he's listening.
Yes, okay. The first time you were asked to hire a psychologist, you take a certain position, that's the sort to suggest that a psychologist is not needed in the team. If
you have him and the kind of speeches he gives, I guess a psychologist.
That's why he's doing the job himself.
Exactly.
Yeah.
if what I was told is anything to go by, because it was kind of a 3-man meeting. If I was told it's anything to go by, Mr. Crick, you have to consider that position and maybe look at the possibility of hiring a psychologist for the team, because it's critical. Because at this point, you ask the question whether the boys will be motivated to play. This is the job of a psychologist. It's not for them to come and sit down and you go there and hit your head and go like you're going to play Niger. The last time I told you that 4 or 5 of these players, their players cannot make my team. That is not the motivation that they need to go out there and play. It's completely different. And at this point, as to whether we qualify or not, as I mentioned, Kwesi Appiah said we'll watch it on TV.
We are not qualified. That one, they don't even give people on.
Alright, so I was here and come on, and I want you bia uti ye wa Abraham Muftau Nabila. Oh yeah, Juma and my Joy Sports with me area mo the latest no it me edma ye. Now I was here with him say yes. Coach Otto Addo there, obvious dressing room there will lose control because as a head coach now I would me take a decision. No as have a back, no as I say decision I'm taking in crowd. My sasa sano. Just Otto Addo when him left and right to be bro. Coach Otto Addo there. See, Blaster said Jumano, and yet a Juma de Esuya coaching you. And I Blaster said Jumano, and yet honey a national service. We must get this. Blaster said, you're winning trophies, but Afcon, ya GGBO. But he said, that's a Matrama Queen, edit him no air and a cat. Bro, shall I get our comment section? Now, said yeah, on the bank say, no cribia and him say, and our money German coach be an answer, money coach. It's my business and yet German coach. But Uti Muftau Nabila Smoka was a reliable source. It's my business and yet German coach. But a bit my coach be a free different place. Eba, our top notch coach. It's a busia. Shall I get our comment section? Do you also think that Coach Otto Addo si yan qualify Afcon these 2 games na yebon yan qualify yan sakeno and I say you maintain no. Shall I get our comment section from meeting at the Kobe and now with my friend Kobe finest is Abishia.